Hello, welcome to the Game Changing Podcast with your host, Ashley Simcock, and I'm very excited to have as my guest today, someone who I connected with via Evolve Out Loud community, which is been created by Kyle Cease. And we've spoke via Zoom before. We've connected via the It's Totally Possible workshop, where you bounce off ideas of what is totally possible. And we shared a room together, and we've been on chats with each other through the different meetings. And yeah, we're here to chat about his new project, which is Love on Every Billboard. So I'm really excited to introduce my guest today, the one and only, or maybe there's more than one, John Pogachar. John Pogachar?
It's Pogachar.
John Pogachar.
Yeah. Ashley, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you right now. So
welcome, and thank you for accepting my invitation to join me on this podcast, John Pogachar. And yes, so first of all, I want to sort of let listeners know what we'll be talking about today. First of all, I'd like to sort of hear about sort of your background and how the Love on Every Billboard project began. What was the inception of it? And yeah, we'll see where the conversation goes.
Okay, so let's see, Ashley, in the fall of 2015. Right then at that time, Trump and Hillary were just at each other, online and on Facebook, and the whole world was being divided, not the whole world, but the whole country was being divided about, we're about, different things. And that was right before, a year before the election of Trump. And I turned around after I was looking at Facebook and I yelled out into my home, I go, where is all the love in the world? Where is all that love in the world? And when I came back, on my Facebook feed was Kyle Cease. And I go, I don't know who you are, but you show up. And so I'm going to push on your video. So I did, and was just enamored with this man, talking about transformation, talking about self-love, talking about, it's all about coming home to who you are really. And so he was saying, I have this event in California, and the tickets are like $99. And so I said, yeah, I love this. I'm going to just do it. And I'm up in Washington. So I just did that. And then the next day I woke up, I go, I better get my plane ticket and my hotel all nailed down, because this event wasn't until February. And I said, I have to have that all nailed down. Otherwise, I'm going to talk myself out of it, because $100 is $100 and I will talk myself out of it. So go for it. So I did. And once I did that, I kept stepping into this idea, transformation, this idea. Now I need to find out everything I can about this speaker. So as I do that, he continues to talk about love. He continues to do this and that. And so this whole idea about, where's all the love in the world, led me to the belief that, hey, it's got to start with myself. It's got to start with myself. So over the next couple of years, it was all about going to different retreats with Kyle. It was about picking up different books about Abraham Hicks, manifesting stuff. It was about looking into who Wayne Dyer was, Michael Singer, all these transformational speakers. And also sitting down with myself and doing some meditation, journaling, writing about what was going on with me, what fears, the little inner child, what that was all about. I had no idea what all this stuff was going to take me, but I had jumped, and it was like taking me on a different journey from what my life was. So I had been in I was in a coaching call back in September 2018, probably August 2018, with Kyle Cease and 50 other people. And we kept, we'd wake up every morning and We talk about love. We talk about the inner child. He would work with each individual. And from that, it was just like, gosh, we're always talking about love. That's the main thing in all of our calls. It's about love. Are you loving yourself enough? So I had the opportunity to go down and do a podcast with Kyle. I did the podcast, and then he says, I dare you to go out into nature and just hang out in nature for a while. So I did that. I went to Kings Canyon National Park. And in Kings Canyon National Park, I came up with this idea of putting love on a billboard. I said, I have this whole idea of what it's going to look like and everything. But I held on to that idea because it was so big. I held on to that idea because there was some fear around that. And I held on to that idea because I've never seen anybody do this before, and is it possible? So I got out of my 2-week stay in Kings Canyon National Park with this great idea. I went to one of Kyle's retreats, and it was a meditation retreat. And I happened to talk to a woman, and I kind of let the idea go out. I kind of let it come out of my mouth because I hadn't talked about it to anybody. I let the idea come out, and she goes, oh my gosh, that is so cool. That is so cool. But I said, please don't tell anybody else, just between you and I. And when I got back to Spokane, Washington, when I was living, I kept seeing the word love everywhere. It was like, it showed up in a display window at Nordstrom. It showed up on people's shirts. It was like when I went into Hallmark, of course it's going to be in Hallmark. It's all over the place. And then I happened to go up to Vancouver, Canada to help support a friend with her project she was doing. It's called the Connection Project. And she took us, after the event was over, she took us out onto this beautiful wharf. And I go, wow, this is amazing. And we finished looking around on the wharf. We're walking back, and there on a pylon was this red rock. And I go, there's something about that pulled me over to that rock. Because I've seen rocks before that people paint, and then just drop for everybody else to see. So I thought, I'm going to go see what that one says. And it's got the word love on it. And I looked up into the sky, and I could go, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. It just made me so happy. And I couldn't wait to get back to Spokane, because that day when I got back to Spokane, or maybe it was the next day, I drove over to the outdoor media company, which was Lamar Outdoor Media Company. And I said, hey, and this was in November. I said, I've got this great idea. I want to put love on a billboard. And they go, the sales manager just kind of looked at me, funny, because you want to do what? He goes, this would be great for February. And I go, no, I don't want to wait till February. This isn't a Valentine thing. So he said, let me give it to our in-store artists, and we'll see what we can come up with for you. I said, fine. The next day I came back, and they've got little hearts all over the place on this billboard. And I go, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I want at all. I don't want that. He goes, well, okay, well, I said, I will go make it, and I'll bring it back to you. So I went across town to a friend of mine who's got a little clothing shop, but he's got his computer out there, and Nick is very much into design and stuff like that. I said, Nick, pull out your computer. And I said, I've only got 10 minutes. So he said, what? I said, I've only got 10 minutes to make this item, what I want to put on a billboard. So he just went with me. And I said, bring up all the fonts we can find. And so he did that. I found a font, which is like right there. There's the font I want. And he goes, well, what color do you want for the background? And he brings up, I said, it's got to be red. So he brings up all the reds, and I go, there it is, perfect. And then put love on a red background. He goes, you want to say anything? No, that's it. That's it. Just love on red background. He goes, I want to tweak it a little bit. I go, Nick, you're killing me here. He goes, well, if I just move the E over a little bit in this font, it'll look great. He goes, and then can I take it home and work on it for a while? I go, no, Nick, we only got 10 minutes. And Nick was like, Nick is a perfectionist, and he wanted to have it just perfect. And I go, it's perfect just the way it is. Perfect just the way it is. So I said, please put it in a PDF file, and let's call Lamar. So he calls Lamar up, and he goes, this is Nick Lewis. I'm representing John Pogashar. I'm going to send you a PDF for the billboard. Please do not change it at all, and goodbye. And then I went back over to Lamar, signed off on the contract for $950. just put up my own money, did it, and put that up.
Lamarck, is Lamarck the agency, the Billboard agency?
Yeah, Lamar.
Lamar.
Lamar. It's spelled Lamar.
So they were the first agency that you spoke to.
Yeah, and they were the outdoor billboard company that we hadn't spoken.
And so, just to reset, so what you just spoke about, and yeah, so you've met Kyle 2016, around that.
Yes, yeah, it was February 2016.
Yeah, and so you've learned all about awareness, consciousness, love. You felt the awareness to do this love. But as you rightly say, the ego says, yeah, but you don't have the money, yeah, but it won't work. But you came through that through synchronicities of seeing a love rock on the floor, and then you just give in, you just surrender, right? I'll do it. So then the universe seems to have coordinated without any effort the people you need and the things you need to make it happen, and to get to a point where you've got the design, you've sent it to, you've got the billboard, you've got the design, you've got the font, and now it's there. So yeah, just felt good to reset, and so far, but yeah, please continue. So Lamar's got the design.
So they've got the design, and so I go back to my morning calls, with Kyle, and he wasn't at the call that day. We were just going to do a meditation, but I said, before we jump into our meditation, I just want to tell you guys something I did. And so I told the group of 50 people, hey, I bought a billboard. I'm going to put love on the billboard, and that's all it's going to be. Oh my gosh, they were overwhelmed. They were just, it happened to be a Friday. And so that Monday, when we got to the call, they were putting in the chat, tell Kyle about the call on the billboard, tell Kyle about this. And so he brought me up onto the Zoom call like we are right now. And he said, John, tell me about this, this idea of what you're going to do. And I said, Kyle, you know what I did is I put the word love on a billboard. And he goes, you did what? I'm just going to put love on a billboard. It's a social experiment, and we're going to see what happens. He goes, I love that idea. It's just amazing. It's amazing that you would do this. And he goes, tell me how much it cost you. And I said, it was $950. And he goes, all right, I'm going to buy a billboard with you. I'll buy one, you have one, and then with it. And then he's just, so you could just see everything's bubbling up inside. He goes, no, I'm buying two. So then we talk about it. And when he says we're going to buy two, tears starting to come down his my eyes. And he goes, John, you need to receive. This is such a cool thing you did. Receive that somebody else wants to jump in and help you with this. Receive that. So I'm great. And then all of a sudden he goes, I'm going to buy three. I'll buy three of them. So now you can have 4 billboards in Spokane. Oh my gosh. Then I was bawling. And it goes, just receive it. It goes, and then people started to go, we want to give you money too, because we want, a billboard like from the group. And I go, I don't have a PayPal account. I don't know what you're even talking about, PayPal. He goes, oh my gosh. He goes, you need to have a PayPal account. So a friend of mine from Canada, in fact, the lady I was up visiting in Canada, she said, I'll help you with making a website. So we worked on that.
These people just came without you asking. They just connected with you.
Yeah, just connected. It's just cool how the universe just started, bringing people into my life. And so Emily and I stayed up till like 10 o'clock, and then I said, Emily, I'm beat. I'm just tired. I need to go to bed. So
create the PayPal account.
Yeah, to come up with this idea, the website and stuff, and the PayPal account. And Emily said, I'm going to stay up. So she must have stayed up till like 2 o'clock. And when we get to the call, she goes, John, I don't have anything. And I go, that's fine. We've got today. We'll work on it today. Well, then when Kyle's assistant, her name was Amelia, she goes, I have a gift for John. And I go, what? Well, what could you give me? Everybody gave me so much yesterday. And she flips around the screen on her computer and she goes, here it is. This is your website. It's called loveoneverybillboard.com. And so it's my gift to you if you'll accept it. And I go, Amelia, I love it. I love it. And I had a PayPal account. So people started automatically throwing in money to my PayPal account. It was just crazy. I go, I've got lots of money.
You became a channel. It seems like you became a channel.
It was nuts.
And you were, it seems like, as Abraham Hicks, because I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks as well. And
yeah,
how she talks about just allowing it's not about doing anything, it's just about allowing it to happen.
Exactly.
And being aware of what the voices are, what the limiting beliefs stopping that coming through. So yeah. I'm curious, what could you identify what limiting beliefs you had in terms of this not working, that you had to
I think one of the limiting beliefs, since I paid out though the $950 myself, that I would also have to pay some of this, pay more money myself. I would have to work to make this thing happen. It just couldn't flow. Kyle was so kind in letting me know, because I showed up the next day. He goes, think about all this and see what you want to do for the next day. How are we going to make this happen? So I was telling him, if this is going to be a network marketing kind of deal, we've got 50 people. They're each going to tell 10 people. They're each going to raise money that way. And Kyle says, I don't think so. He goes, we're going to let this happen organically and just allow different people to show up and want to put up a billboard. At that time, he was doing 2 different calls. So he went to his second call in, an hour after ours, and he let them know about my project. And several of those people loved the idea, just loved the idea. And in fact, one lady says, hey, can I go ahead and I will do a billboard, but I also I have some friends in Oklahoma that can put this on bus benches. Can we do that? And so she found 30 bus benches in Oklahoma.
30 what, sorry?
30 bus benches.
30 bus benches, right. So that's like a bus shelter.
Yeah.
Okay.
In her city. And she did that along with, the guys put up a couple billboards. So it was that was fun. It was like, okay, now it doesn't have to be just on a billboard. It could be on something else. And you led to the idea of, it could be on a mug. It could be on those things when we talked yesterday.
Yeah.
It could be on shirts. It could be on everything, which is true, very true. Yeah.
Could be. I was on the call yesterday with you, and you mentioned someone has put it on some yardsticks and some cards, and they were handing them out to people, and people on the street were putting in front of their houses. That's fast forwarding it a little bit, but I'm sure the story is evolving nicely here. Pardon for evolving. So where we're at now. So just to recap where we are.
Okay.
Kyle is on board. He's give you $4,000 or $3,000 to
$3,000
more billboard there, and you become aware of. I'm curious about these limiting beliefs because you told me what your limiting beliefs were. I'm curious how you transcended these beliefs and how you sort of found the other end of it, the other end of the stick. As Abraham Hicks, you have a limiting belief on one side and the opposite of it.
Yeah. And actually, I think some of it was just about because money just kept coming in, and it was just like, be thankful, have some gratitude, find love, tell people thank you, and as the money rolled in, it was like, oh my gosh.
Was this through meditation as a practical? Were you through
That's another, we were doing meditation, from the calls. Kyle was saying, you guys need to meditate. You have to do the work. Like going to the gym. I know he always talks about this, but he goes, if you go to the gym and don't pick up any weights, then how can you get fit? He goes, the gym is there, but you have to do the work. Meditation is there, but you have to go do the work. Journaling is there, you have to go to the work. You don't become an author by not doing the work, and that's going out and writing.
So were you practicing this daily? Were you meditating daily and journaling? Or
Yeah.
And what sort
Yeah.
of what were you practicing? What sort of thoughts were you practicing? What were you feeling?
I was just allowing anything
Okay.
that wanted to come up to
Yeah.
come up, and I'm sure there was thoughts about unworthiness. Who do you think you are? This idea. But as you kept stepping, or as I kept stepping into this love on every billboard, it just kept happening. Those people from that second call loved the idea, and they just kept calling me and kept wanting to do that.
So gratitude. So you were feeling gratitude for things that were unfolding.
Yeah.
And you were tapping into that, and more and more was coming because you were grateful of what was happening. I can feel that, actually. Yeah.
There was an incident that happened in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, shortly after I did the billboard, and there was a shooting at a synagogue. And I said, I have money. I'm putting a billboard in Pittsburgh. So I called them up and said, I want this, done. And so they found it as close as I could to the synagogue. And so I just sent them the money and signed off on the contract, and went with that. And then a friend who happened to be on who happened to be living in Pennsylvania. She was living in Reading, which I didn't know was clear across the state, but she drove all the way across the state to record the billboard, so we could see what it looked like. Plus she went by this synagogue, and I tell you, she said it was so amazing to go to the synagogue, walk around and see the memorials that were coming, because people were dropping off flowers and letters and all sorts of different things at that synagogue. And she said there was an older lady that was just wandering around, just crying. She said, I went up to her and just gave her the biggest hug and just said, I love you, It's like the simplest thing to do is just to give that to somebody else, that hug, that love from them. So I found out not only was this a great idea, but people were getting so much out of it. People that were seeing it were getting stuff out of it. People that were going to go see the billboard got so much out of it. They actually put themselves in places they would have never. It's like, John, you threw a rock in the middle of the pool. Now let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
So were people reaching out to you to say, I've seen your billboard, and so you've got your first billboard up, right? And then, because I've watched a documentary called The Illusion of Money with Kyle Seach, and that's where I sort of first became aware of the love on a billboard after watching that documentary, and it sort of struck a chord when I was watching it. And yeah, I actually watched it again this week, but and then when I got on a call with you, and it's totally possible for, oh yes, I've been waiting to speak to John and talk to you about love on every billboard. And on the documentary, it tells you the journey and how. Tell me about the news, because the news found out.
Well, we did a press release. I had a friend in California that did press releases. So she calls me up and she said, see, this is another thing. Not only people are calling up to do all sorts of different things, but Brenda calls me up and says, I want to do a press release so we can get this out to the news. I go, well, that's cool. I've never been on the news before. So she dug up a press release and she did that. And then there was a guy on the call. His name was Stas Arsenov. And he says, you know what? I've never done a film before, but I have a friend in Seattle, and I'm going to drive up the coast, grab my buddy out of Seattle, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to film one of the billboards go up. And I go, this is crazy.
Actually being put up, the whatever they use to put billboards up, I don't know.
They put it on a piece of vinyl and then they put that up.
Right.
I said, this is crazy. But yes. I was just like, receive. Yes.
And you was on the documentary. Kyle allowed you to be on his documentary, and you had a piece on there. I noticed you were interviewed, and which program were you on? Because I noticed there's some three people talking about. What program was that?
Oh,
and there's a reporter there.
The Today Show showed up. Later on, a little bit later on, maybe another month or so into this program. And they said, we want to hear your story. So a producer called me. I told them all about what's going on. And so they took some photos and stuff, because at that time, now it had gone to Columbus, Ohio. So they had pictures from that, from one of their affiliate stations. So they did a story, and that happened on Valentine's Day.
Right.
That whole thing. So that was a lot of fun. I just watched that the other day. So that was good. But you know, Stoss came up and he grabbed some people in Spokane, Washington, and one of those gentlemen was Dave Krieger, and he's my producer for this new film we're doing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, and so so that's how I met Dave, and he goes, we're going to do some filming, and we're just going to play with this idea and just see what happens. So it was fall, and the leaves were coming down, and we just had so much fun recording and doing this. It was like as you opened your heart and allowed, so much magic was coming out of this, you know. It's like, just allow it to come. And then I called up my brother-in-law and told him about it. And he says, I love this idea. You know, my sister, we lost my sister to cancer. He goes, I'm going to put up a billboard in Havre, Montana. He goes, what the heck, you know, and we're just going to do this. And so he got one started, and, you know, and then we did the one in Pittsburgh, and then people from the call said, I want to do one in St. Louis. And that lady ended up doing 7 billboards, individual billboards in St. Louis.
Wow.
She got help from, you know, different people she knew, different groups she was plugged into. They gave her money.
Yeah. So when people talk about, I want to love on every billboard, so what's a journey you take them on, and how to actually get the billboard on?
Some of it is kind of like they're already in that spot where they can just handle it themselves, and they go, I will call. In fact, I had a lady in California says, I will call the media company. I'll take care of all that. I have the money. I have the funds. It's in my wallet. All I need is the artwork from you. Okay. I said, great. I'll send you the artwork. Make it happen. So
that's an easy.
Yeah, that's easy. And then people will call up and go, I want to do this, but I'm afraid to do it. And I go, I will hold your hand. I will walk you through this whole thing. You know, and so there's some coaching around it. There's some coaching about fundraising. And a friend of mine just recently told me, it's not fund, F-U-N-D, but it's F-U-N, just fundraising.
Yeah.
He goes, take out the D, it makes it so much easier. So I said, all right.
In terms of fundraising, you know, we believe we have to pay things for ourselves, and we have this sort of thing inside of us that doesn't like to ask for things.
Right.
It's come from childhood. Like, I don't know, like hard work, do it yourself, don't ask. But in actual fact, there's so many great people out there who are just waiting to help. And it's just knowing you don't have to do this yourself. And yeah, the more you ask, the more people you ask. It's just finding the right people at the right time. And just receive it, as you know. It's just receiving, being grateful, and it just allowing it, and people just come out of nowhere when you least expect it, and that's a fun part. And yeah, so we've got so much. You got so much momentum with this. Where we are in the story, you know, people are asking you 7. Where was that? What state was that in? 7 billboards.
That was in St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri. So what year is it? How long?
That was in 2019, early 2019.
2019. So that's 2 years ago as we record this podcast. So what's been the momentum last 2 years? And I'm curious if you've had these limiting beliefs come through, like, in the meantime, and how
I think they all pop up once in a while, and there's like layers, like you peel an onion and there's layers. And so it's like, oh, you're showing up again. And so, and it was all about, and as I'm going through Kyle's work and stuff, and everybody else's, you know, the transformational speakers I named earlier, you know, Abraham Hicks and Michael Singer, it was just like, allow this to come up again. It's got to be seen. It wants to be seen, this unworthiness, this like, you're not good enough. Allow it to come up and be with it, and just allow it.
Yeah. And fortunately, the more you've been allowing, the more it's been coming. So
yes, Yeah.
So the last 2 years, you've been staying in touch with Kaya. I've noticed you on the calls during COVID, etc. And have more people gain more interest?
Oh yes, more and more people have gained interest. In fact, early 2019, I go, we have traction here. There's something here to this idea. And I already knew it was going to go international. I said, this is going to go international. And I'm going, Canada, our neighbors to the north are going to be the first to do this. I just knew it. And so, and then I about fell off my chair when a young lady from Russia called who worked with a outdoor media company. And they said, we want to put up this word in Russia, in their city, on 22 different billboards. Could you send us the artwork?
How did Russia find you?
I don't know.
Did she say where she found you?
I think she just found us on Facebook. I think she found us on maybe outdoor media companies, that were doing different things. So, but her name was Kate. She was an intern. She's like 19 at the time. And she's on the phone with me. And, it's kind of hard to, we had a little bit of a language barrier. So we're talking back and forth. And I think she's just trying to say, thank you for doing this. Actually, what she wants is the artwork. And so when I was talking to, I happened to be on the phone one night and right before Valentine's Day, talking to my daughter, and the lady in St. Louis calls me and she goes, Kate is on the phone with me from Russia and she wants the artwork. And I go, Carol, I am on the phone with my daughter, which at that time was the most important thing that I wanted to do, is talk to Jessica. So I did. And then I called Carol back after I got off the phone with Jessica, and she goes, I gave Kate the artwork. And I go, you gave Kate the artwork in Russia? Automatically, this is crazy, but automatically my ego goes, oh my gosh, you just gave away America's secret. And I went, what are you saying? I go, love on a billboard is for everybody. It's for everybody. It's not just for me. It was for everybody. And I go, poof. I go, I hope Trump's not mad at me. And so it's like,
yeah.
But it was just funny, the ego wanting to limit this, wanting to keep it from somebody else.
Yeah.
So I don't know if your viewers are going to understand that or laugh about it, but it's just something that came up.
Yeah, it's that I guess it's a control of, I want this, it's my idea, it's the ownership part of us that this is my idea. No, I don't want anyone to have it. I need to trademark it. I need to protect it. I need to get a legal team around it so no one pinches it.
Right.
So it's like letting go. And it's just 4 letters, right? LOVE. It's not yours. We don't.
Right.
And so I guess it's not just the billboard. I guess it's as it sort of transcended in other parts of your life of just letting things go. And so what is anything else in your life that has, apart from the billboard, that's been?
And then I was allowed myself to go travel. I sold pretty much everything I had in my apartment, got rid of all that stuff, some stuff away in a friend's house, but then just took off. And now I'm traveling and I'm landing at different people's homes. I'm visiting with them. Right now I'm in Montana visiting with my sister. So it's like, and manifesting this new documentary film, and also manifesting a children's book. And I'm starting to write a second children's book. So I think, and just loving yourself, the more and more we have the self-love, the more we can go, I can go do this, I can go do that. And the more and more I look at different speakers too. There's a lady who has passed away, 80 years ago. Her name is Florence Scovel Shinn. She talks about amazing stuff. She was a metaphysicist from the late 1800s, but she talks about affirmations a lot like Louise Hayes does at Hay House, and how that is so important. to impress the subconscious about where you want to go, what you want to do, how you want to be, you know?
Yeah. What's the mission with this, John? What's the true mission with having love and ability? What do you want people to
Just
feel?
think, if I was going to say it has a mission, it would just to continually be a spark for people when they drive down the road to think, what do I need to do? I need to love myself. I need to love my family. I need to love the people at work. I just need to take a breath and just stay in nature, you know? It's just to make them realize, hey, what do I need to do? One lady had called me and said, or she had put it on Facebook, she goes, you know, you could have put your money at a homeless shelter, something. I text her back just that thing. I go, you know what? The love on a billboard has just done what it's supposed to do. It's caused you to think where you want to put your money. So please do that. You put your money wherever you want. I'm going to stay with this because it made you think about what you could do. So
I think what's coming through me is, and I've heard Kyle mention it, is that love is a verb, right? It has two ends. You can feel, and some people could see that billboard and maybe feel like, oh, I don't have that. And take the other end of the stick. And yeah, what would you say to that sort of person who might see, oh no, I don't have a love, and have seen that?
You know, Ashley, everybody's on their own journey, you know, and just like myself and just like friends I've had, is that, you know, they don't see that in their life, you know, and for us to try and yank them off of that journey, just like an alcoholic, you try and yank somebody out of their journey, they don't appreciate it and they don't want it. They have to get to a point where they go, oh, that's what he's been talking about. Oh, because they won't even understand if you're trying as the nicest way to talk to somebody, they don't get it. But it's like when you open a book one day and all of a sudden everything that Abraham Hicks makes sense. You understand what that means. You understand what a vortex means. You understand what allowing yourself to be that. It's like, and you not only read, go meditate, but you actually go do it.
I guess it can open up, wounds need to be opened up for them to heal. So if someone did see that and sort of feel maybe unloved, that maybe it'll give them permission to feel like, okay, it's reminding me to love myself more. Rather than thinking, oh, I don't feel loved, I don't want to, they might drive another way. Some people might see the billboard of love and might, oh, I'm not going to go that way to remind myself of love I feel. It's like you're running around. But soon, love is going to be every billboard and it's going to be nowhere to go.
Yeah. You know, and maybe they come home and just start talking to their family about that. I was driving home and I see this word. What is that all about? What do you guys think? You know, hey, let's have a discussion. Somebody put love on a billboard. What is that all about? So
discuss love. And it's let's fix these wounds, right? Let's not, as a lot of people say, we're walking around in like covered in blood and we're not putting bandages on. We're just spewing out blood on blood instead of like, okay, I'm bleeding. Let's get a bandage on it and let's heal. Let's begin to heal this wound, but not a temporary bandage. Like, you know, sit with it. Yeah,
because I think a lot of people do kind of put temporary bandages on things they don't want to feel. You know, maybe they go to food or they go to alcohol or they go to sex or whatever it is that they do, so they don't have to feel what love is about. They don't have to feel their feelings. They don't have to talk to the inner child. We just have another beer. It's like, no, it's all about loving yourself. And the more we love ourselves, crazy things happen because other people start going, what is he doing? Or what is she doing to come into work and be so smiling all the time? And go like, tell me. So I'm just finding more love for myself.
And I can feel that. I can feel your love.
Yeah.
I can feel your smile. If no one's watching this, John's not, you just not stop smiling throughout, but and you're so, I can feel your energy for this project and this this mission, and you're sort of like, let's just do this and see what happens. You've got no agenda to get a certain amount of money from this, or a certain status, or certain acclaim. And it's very clear to me, it's not about that. It's just the 4 letters, LOVE. And, I mean, do you put like your website on the bottom of the billboard or anything, or?
No.
There's no offers?
No.
You put an offer there? Get love, but buy one, get love, get one free, or anything like that?
No. There's, that I purposely did that, actually, because, I could have put love your grandparents or love God or love this. It's like, everybody's out there. And love means something different to everybody. So allow that just to be out there in the world, and let whatever people want to do with it, let them do with it.
And I guess if someone saw love on a billboard, who are curious, oh, what, I've just seen love on a billboard, you would probably Google it, wouldn't you? Like,
and that's what I told so many people. Said you need to put a URL on it. I go, where are we? We have the internet, we have computers, we have Google, we have all this stuff. If they want to know, especially after the news had already hit me up 3 or 4 times, I go, if they want to know, there are stories online that will tell them what I'm all about, how they can find me. So,
so if you type love into love on love, the keywords love and billboard, then a stream of content, and then you've got a website, built a website, which I've looked at. And as you said, it's not just love on every billboard. You've got love on, you're selling, you got a USA shop and a UK shop. Is that right?
Yes, I do. I have both shops. And that just happened at the beginning of this year. That happened because it was like, I would like to feed more money into this project. And so what could we do? How could we make that better? And so I came up with the idea after I was at Kyle's meditation retreat. And he had put his logo and stuff on shirts and hats and all sorts of different things. I go, I'm going to steal that idea, and I'm going to do that too. So I talked to one of his assistants and said, how do I do this? And so they gave me a website to go through. So that's what we did.
How is the shop going? And how much have you raised so far?
Let's see. We probably made $2,500 so far. That's what came out in, and I would say probably half of that, because you got to pay the spreadshirt company. So, but that's about how much we've had in sales. And and somebody said, you know what, you got to just keep putting it out there. Just keep putting it out there. It takes a while to build a brand like this, so just keep putting it out there. So no expectation. I did say, well, let's put up a spreadshirt shop also in the UK, so that the fees to get things over there weren't going to be so high. So
do you have to be a resident in the UK or USA to get the merchandise, or is it international?
It's international.
Okay, right.
Yeah, okay. It's international. Ones in UK serve everybody in Europe, and beyond.
Okay. So if they were in Ukraine, for example, which store should they go to, USA or UK?
The UK store.
Right. So if you're in Europe, you go to UK, but if in USA, USA.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, USA and Canada would be go to that way.
Right. So we're in today's. Let's come back to today. So yesterday we connected. I'll just tell a quick story because we've connected on It's Totally Possible through Kyle last few weeks, and 2 nights ago I just checked Facebook Messenger. I don't have notifications to let me know when I get a message, but something came through. Check my messages on Facebook, and you invited me to a meeting. I didn't know what it was about. I said, oh, it starts in like 30 minutes. So I clicked onto it, and there was you and your executive director. So, and it feels exciting, like what's coming up. So yeah, tell my listeners, viewers, what your plan is for the next few months.
This is really crazy. And I want to go back to April to start this story, because in April, I was in California and I was on a news interview with some people in Spokane. And the last question the news anchor asked me, she goes, John, this has been going on for almost, 2.5 years at that time. What is next for Love on Every Billboard? And I go, Dina, I think there's a movie or a film in this somewhere. And then she goes, well, that would be great. That would be fun to see. She goes, so wish you all the best. And then I just kind of let that idea just kind of floated off into the universe. And then in August, I had come back up. I was in Montana, and my producer friend, Dave Kreger, he calls me up. He goes, John, he goes, I think we should have coffee. Where are you? And I go, I'm over in Montana. He goes, can you come to Spokane? We can have coffee, because I think we should talk about a possible documentary film. And so,
how far is that? Just for geography?
Oh, a couple 100 miles.
Okay.
So I said, I can do that. So, but then I didn't remember the story about the April call until I started going through this stuff, and said, we started talking about, hey, I think we can do this. And I said, yes, I want to do it. I said, because he was going to send me home, and he goes, you take a week, 10 days and think about it. And so the next day I called him up. I said, I don't need a week to 10 days. Let's do this. We're going to make this happen. And so, but then as I'm going through stuff to send Dave, I find this story and I go, I manifested this. I spoke this out, that the film, and somebody showed up, took the idea and said, yes, we're going to do this. So I just made me laugh and smile so big, because it was like, I spoke it into the universe. I let it go. And then the universe came back with this gentleman that wants to do this idea.
And you allowed it, right?
Yeah. And just Ed said yes. And because I could have said no. I could have said no and blocked that whole idea. But I said yes. And I said, I don't need my week. I just need to do it right. Let's start right now. Otherwise, I'm going to talk myself out of it. Otherwise, I'm going to let the ego get in there and play around. So the sooner you can just jump on the idea, the faster things just kind of go away. The ego kind of goes away and just things start happening. Well, Dave is into film. That's his job. And so he had contacts that he could call for help. He's got, just all sorts of things, editing people and stuff like that. So he laid out a whole program for me when we went and had coffee, told me all about what was going to happen and how this could happen. And I said, awesome, let's go with it. I said, I'm just going to allow you to direct me in this, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah. So you got the next few months, you got your book you spoke about, your children's book. You're working on that. Yeah.
And that should be coming out at the end of December.
And so what is that?
That book is let's see, that book has had a long journey so far, because my grandson is probably about 19 months old. And it started before he was born, but it's 10 things I want my mom and dad to know before I'm 5 days old. And it talks about meditation, and it talks about being kind to you. And it talks about allowing me to be who I am and not pushing all these other things on me. Not that I don't want to know what you're doing, mom and dad, or your journey or your hobbies, but please let me do what I would like to do. So it has a lot to do with meditation and awareness, the stuff I've learned over the last 5 years. And so, and part of that got held up because I had a lot of illustrations I wanted to do it. And so I was trying to find an illustrator, and I thought I'd found a couple, but then they decided not to do it. And then one friend told me, you can draw yourself, do your own illustrations, quit waiting for somebody else to do this, quit holding this book up. People need this book. So I said, okay, I'll do my own illustrations. So I did illustrations for the book, and then the in-store illustrator with the company I'm working with, they are just coloring the illustrations, making them really fluffy and happy, and I'm just loving the process. And it was something that came up with, and I was just like, because some of the illustrations came back and I didn't like them, and then and I go, oh, now what am I going to do? Because the inner child showed up and said, oh, we only get what they give us. it was like, now we've got to eat everything on our plate.
Mm.
This is what was served to us. So now we're stuck with it.
Instead of the abundance of things, right?
Yeah.
The limited, you only have what you only can have what's there.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're not getting any more.
So a friend of mine, James Warda, who is also an AEP, he pulled me aside. He goes, I've written books before. He goes, what's the problem? I go, they changed it. The cartoon or the illustration, not what I wanted. He goes, John, just go back and forth and just say, no, that's not what I want. He goes, you paid for this book. They'll do what you want to do. And so when I got on the phone with the illustrator, she was so kind and so nice. She goes, what do you think of the illustrations? I go, I don't like this one. I don't like this one. She goes, that's fine. That's perfect. What would you like? And so it's like, all of a sudden the little kid in me is just jumping up and down like on a bed, just going, they're letting me do what I want. It's not like I have to stay in the lines. I can't have this or when I'm coloring, it's like, I can have whatever I want. Yes. I was so excited and just worked with her and collaborated on some different ideas. And it was beautiful.
Looking forward to seeing this in December.
Yeah.
What's 5 things I need to just repeat the title again of the book?
10 things I want my mom and dad to know before I'm 5 days old.
Okay, and that's going to be out in December, so look out for that. It's going to be available on Amazon and all the stores like that.
Yeah. Yes.
And so you get your book. You've also mentioned on the presentation that I watched a couple of nights ago, you've got, just tell us a bit more about what's coming up, that you've got a documentary.
Yeah, the film documentary.
Coming up.
So, and hopefully that'll be out like in January, because we want to start doing the film festivals. So right away, just putting that out with no expectation. I'm just going to put it out there and see what people do. Yeah.
Love and Ever Build, the documentary. You've got a feature film coming by the end of next year. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's out in the ethers right now. I'm speaking it out there. There's a feature film. There's a Netflix thing. There's episodes, 8, 9, 10 episodes that I'll be doing. So,
and
so exciting.
Yeah, you've got okay, you told me how much you've got, but you said you're looking for more. So how can my listeners, viewers help?
You can go on to loveoneverybillboard.com. That's my website right now. And you can go to our PayPal donate button and click in how much money you want to donate. 5, 10, 20, thousands of dollars, whatever. I'm open to receive all of it. You can, you
mentioned you were looking for brands who would be interested in being mentioned in the documentary. Is that right? Just tell us a bit more. Well,
I would love if Microsoft wants to partner with us on this, and wants to write a check for $100,000.
Yeah,
we would love to put them in the credits, and we'd love to hook up a little package for them so that we can, mention them throughout the year. So yeah.
So if anyone's listening to this, who've got any companies or any brands that would love to be involved in this and be mentioned in the credits, and as you say, you're doing a tour, a media tour, right? And you'll mention whoever wants to get involved, the brands on every interview, and so reach out to John through. Is your contact details on the website, Love and Every Billboard, where we can get in touch with you?
Yes, there are a place for you to email me, and I will get those emails, and I usually return my emails that very day, so that you email me. So
that's the best way to email. You're on Facebook.
Yeah, and yep. And if people want to, if they want to say, hey, I want to put up a billboard in my city, I am all about doing that and helping you guys out, doing that too. So.
Yeah. So when I was walking around yesterday, I saw a billboard. It had an event. It was an advertising event. It was last weekend, 2 weeks ago, and I immediately thought, what, great opportunity to put love on there. So I took a photo of it and said to John, like, okay, what do we need to do to get love on that billboard? And you've been so quick, and you've already spoken to the agency, and you've got the wheels in motion. So if any viewers listening, any of my viewers are listeners, can see, I've sort of seen a billboard with maybe like an event, because I've noticed many billboards have stuff on there that's already happened, and especially in the UK. So if anyone sees a billboard outside and they want to get involved in this, take a photo of it, take a video of the billboard, get in touch with John. He'll walk you through the process. He'll hold your hand. It's actually very easy, isn't it? You said it's very easy.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
You know, people make things bigger than what they are. And I think that's another big lesson I found out during this process, is that you are bigger than anything that can come against you. So remember that.
I think it helps. You've no intention of getting anything out of this. It's like a freewheel. like if something happens, great. If not, it's fine, and it's coming from love, the source. So yeah, I think we've covered so much, and just thank you for so grateful for you to being on this podcast today and sharing your project and your mission. Is there anything that we spoke about that I've maybe not spoke about that you'd like to mention?
I don't know. Just go out and have a lovely day and enjoy your life, because stay in the moment. I would say stay in the moment, because we only have this moment. This moment that Ashley and I have had together on this podcast has been so fantastic. I wasn't worried about, any of the meetings. I wasn't worried about what the weather was looking like. I was just really in tune with Ashley, his viewers, and just communicating what I had to say. And so if you stay in this moment, miracles can happen.
Stay in this moment, miracles can happen. There's no script. You just hear. There's no steps, there's no scripts.
Like we just do it off the cuff.
Thank you. So just to repeat, to find more about this fantastic project, Love on Every Billboard, go to loveoneverybillboard.com. I'll put it in the show notes. And please feel free to share this podcast with your friends and family. Look out for any billboards. Go and visit the shop, Love on Every Billboard, buy some t-shirts, buy some mugs, some great gifts on there. And get in touch with John. Just say hi. He's such a cool guy. He's such an open, and he'll just say hi back and see what happens. So thank you, John, again.
Ashley, thank you for having
me. To speak to you. Thank you for listening, and go on, enjoy your day.
All right. Bye.
Bye.